Who am I and why am I here? Well, in the words of the great Admiral Stockdale, late great. My name is Harry Kollatz Jr. and the book of the hour is Carlisle, Montgomery. Who is she? Well, you can read the book, but I will briefly tell you. She is a 6'5", red-headed, pigtailed, bucking, gap-toothed, 9-fingered guitar-playing freak. And she fronts the Live Wires, which is a bluegrass band with a honky-tonk problem we're not trying to fix. And they create, as the late great Paige Wilson used to call it, purebred American mongrel music. But it's the 1990s when the world was divided between grunge and Garth Brooks. And Carlisle and the Live Wires have a bit of a road to hoe in spreading the word of their music. And so I want to introduce the band to you as one does in these situations. You'll be hearing about them, so that's why I feel it necessary to give them a little bit of description. And by little bit, I begin with Laurel Gray, who's about this high. It's about 5 foot compared to Carlisle, who is 6'5". Laurel is a fiddler who knows the difference between rosin and resin. She can do both. She was raised in Southwest Virginia on a commune where she learned to play for a wind-up gramophone on a handmade instrument. And she's an incredible talent, and by this stage of the book, she's in a very very tense music program. But she and Carlisle are musical soulmates. They play together in all circumstances. And sometimes, when exuberant, the high point of Live Wire's music, she jumps on the instrument of Ween Shackelford III. He's the upright bass player. He has a fondness for bowling shirts and small hats. And he is a showman and much beloved by the Live Wires, whom he forced himself upon because they needed a bass player. And he is accompanied by Bruce Moody, who was in a bunch of bands in the late 80s in Richmond, and marriage and 2 children and 1 more on the way, and he became a master electrician and never thought he'd be back playing out, but he saw Carlisle at a date at the Hole in the Wall and was back in the races. Much to the chagrin of his wife, Alicia. Read it in the book. And finally, Cassie Sorensen, who sits in sometimes when Bruce cannot play, is not allowed out. Cassie was in a punk band in 1979, 1980 in New York, the Desolation Angels. She got tired of band politics and touring, so she came to Richmond and she started playing acoustic and perhaps even bluegrass, and the Live Wires intrigued her, and so she also plays. We have to round it out with C.P. Forsyth, the percussionist of Native and African descent, whose prior art rock bands include Special Relativity and Interrobang. He's kind of the intense guru of the band, being the drummer, of course. And finally, 2 who not actually play instruments, but played an important part nonetheless. David Eckenrode and Danae Halloran, who were Carlisle's lovers. But they were also the booking agents, the promoters, and the agents. And then, of course, all of that ended, and now Carlisle must do it herself. You'll read all about it, I hope. This is a section called Closer Together, but Farther Apart. Carlisle kept the gigs going. The Live Wires played on a grand front portico for the Monument Avenue Easter Parade. Chuck Wren invited them up for his rollicking feast of Pie on the Hog atop Old Church Hill. Carlisle played standing on a straw-covered floor for the Chesterfield County Fair, where, if quizzical looks might have been exchanged for currency, she would have taken the year off. Not as successful as trying to push the name of the Live Wires deeper into the hinterlands. She only jacked up her long-distance telephone charges while at these distant venues, the cleaning people, the bartenders, the receptionists never passed on her messages, and it tried her last good patience and gave her immense retrospect for all the work that David and Danae had done on behalf of the Livewires and Carlisle. Laurel made it to every date despite an important and intense musical program. Weems and CP sometimes sat in with other groups as to fit their sidemen lives. Cassie drifted around Richmond and elsewhere. Bruce continued stringing wire through sweet-smelling wood and the Tyvek papered walls of Richmond's outer suburbia. She refrained from calling him. The live wires circled around their next thing. Carlisle placed a grease board on the back strut of Travel, that's the International Harvester truck that they drive around, and wrote at the top of it, Project X, with track lists and names. Freak of Nature, number 1. Number 2, Syzygy. Number 3, Freak of Nature. It's about the freakishness in everything and everyone, she explained to the Livewires, perched as she was on Travel's back seat as the Livewire stood in front of them. CP raised his brows. It's a freaky concept. Bruce frowned. You're really stuck on that freak thing, aren't you? Weems jibed. Dude, that's the way it is in Carlisleocracy. Carlisle tucked in the corner of her mouth. What exactly is a Carlisleocracy? Laurel piped up. Tall and red-headed, I suppose. The Livewires laughed. They played gigs closer to home, but farther apart. And Carlisle tried to arrange and sort out the band's future while also keeping up with current gigs. Scottsfest, Moon Dance, Cock and Bull, Cherry Street. But the most enthusiastic audience the Livewires played for was at Babes of Carytown. The venerable establishment that catered primarily to a lesbian clientele, but they paid for live music. And the beer ran cold, and beyond the bar was a large room where free interpretation and dance participation were encouraged, and a large black curtain hyphenated by plants and dramatically parted for a large exotic aquarium hid most activity from view. Carlisle had never experienced such an earnest audience as a group of women with their beers and their pint glasses held high, shouting for the broken refrain of "When the Hawk Came to Boulevard Baptist, the deacons turned her away." They knew all the words and in the right order. They coyote howled to the live wires. They maintained quiet respect for the morality lesson of P-51 Mustang and the spareness of the Syzygy. But some nights, Freak of Nature nearly broke the place apart. They loved pointing and then the refrain, "I'm a freak, you're a freak, I'm a freak, you're a freak, I'm a freak, you're a freak." And they would encourage it with a locomotive chugging to persuade Carlisle to flail away on her tailor and scream, "I'm a freak of nature, yes I am, yes I am." They knew all the words. They encouraged her to play her P.J. Harvey interpretations. They wanted them to play the themes from Beverly Hillbillies and Green Acres, which they learned to satisfy the late night, just one more part of the festivities. And sometimes Manhattan became Babes of Carytown. They switched out a West End mall, Regency Square, for Times Square. But when it got to the "You Are My Wife" line, the band had enjoyed switching off with each other for their joining. When Laurel and Carlisle took hands, the place went whistling, stomping, crazy. When Bruce and Weems came together, the women cupped their hands around their mouths and shouted, "Bruce!" Carlisle noticed that when the line was about to come, the women would start to scramble in a Sadie Hawkins fashion for a wife. And sometimes there was squabbling and hurt feelings that curdled the fun. However, Carlisle noticed after several sessions that there was a consistent wifing going on, and that pleased her immensely. Despite masher notes and between sets pleadings, Carlisle Montgomery, I love you. You are one of my people. She dismissed almost all of it. Thank you very much. That's more or less how it goes in the book. Somewhat less, but
Stop. You say it better than I read it.
Eileen's on her way. Okay. Well, I tell you, we have some music coming. I know there are people who want some signing going on. You know what? I'll read the next section. This is just a little further along. I want to say hello if anybody's watching out there in Facebook land. We are live streaming, so this is a recorded event, everyone, so give everybody a shout. Yay!
This is directly from the book. And I'm going to start it out. And Harry's in the middle of signing, so he can't, I don't know if he can really do this song with me or not. But it's a good old dirty version of Green Acres.
Green Acres? Oh, we know that song. We can do Green Acres.
Yeah, you can do Green Acres. Well, it's kind of a local version, okay? This is directly out of Harry's reading.
You have to pay him, though.
All right, so I'm going to say, I'm a freak. You go, you're a freak. I'm a freak. I'm a freak. You're 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 a freak. Good, but what we're going to do is we're going to set this up like a train rhythm, and it's going to start out slow, and it's going to get a little faster, and then when Harry can step away for about a minute, he's going to come up here and sing his part. Yeah, we are. I know, I can't see it. Anybody got a flashlight on your phone? We need you.
We got 1,000 lights coming.
Thank you. Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Oh, there we go. We got another one. Whoa, that's great. The silver button you can.
My God.
Oh, there we go.
I love this. This is perfect. Okay.
Okay, this.
All right, dial in here.
Everybody.
I'm a freak.
You're a freak.
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 County is the place for me. Harrisville County is the place for me. Farm living is the life for me. Lakes stretching out so far and wide. Keep Babes of Carytown and give me that countryside.
Well, the Fantastics where I'd want to stay. I just adore the allergic smelling hay. I just adore a townhouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue. Woo!
Fresh air!
Regency Square.
The chores!
The stars.
You are my wife!
Goodbye, city life. Everybody, breathe.
We are there!
I'm a freak. 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 All right, now that you're warmed up, we're going to do one more thing for you. And we're going to sing the chorus of the Live Wires theme song. So your part is this. After I say, I don't think the singer is a girl at all, you're going to shout, because she's too damn tall. Okay, let's just practice that. I don't think the singer is a girl at all.
She's too damn tall.
Thank you. They say the live wires, they blew the roof right off my joint. They say the live wires, they blew the roof right off my joint. Well, I don't think the singer is a girl at all because she's too damn tall. One more time, with feeling. Yeah. They say the live wires, they blew the roof right off my joint. They say the live wires, they blew the roof right off my joint. But I don't think the singer is a girl at all because she's too damn tall. Woo! Stand by, more to come.
It's the first time this song is heard in public hearings. Came alive right out of the booklet, you know. Eileen Edmonds.
Thanks so much. Karen, we love you, man.
So that's Carlisle, Montgomery. I hope you enjoy it. I know I sure as hell did.